Section 11.3, term life insurance. So we're going to look at tables to compute the yearly or annual premium for term life insurance. First of all, life insurance is financial protection for the family in case the main source of income dies. So, for instance, in my family, both Bill and I have life insurance. If something happens to one of us, then either he will get the money or the kids will get the money or whatever. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in a second. There are different types of life insurance that you can buy. Today we're going to talk about the least expensive one, which is term life insurance. Again, it's the least expensive, so please remember that. It is bought for a specific term. 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, however long it's going to be. What happens is it's the cheapest form of life insurance that you can buy. If you buy a policy for 5 years, you pay the premiums probably monthly for 5 years. Once that 5 years is done, the policy is done. It doesn't carry over, it doesn't do anything else. So you buy it for a specific period of time. Once that 5 years is up, you can choose to get another 5-year term, but again, the premiums are going to be different. You have to kind of sign up for it again. So unless you renew it, your policy is up, the insurance coverage is done. Okay, so there's nothing fancy with term life. It is the cheapest form, and you kind of have to decide, do you need it at the time? And if you do, maybe this is the one that you want. The agent does describe them all to you, so you kind of know what you're getting into as well. Your premium depends on how many units did you buy. In this book, a unit is worth $1,000. So if you're going to get a $50,000 policy, that would be 50,000 divided by 1,000, which is 50 units. And then your age at the time your policy is purchased. The younger you are, the cheaper, when you get the policy, the cheaper your premiums are. Okay, so if you, for instance, get your first life insurance policy at 20, it's going to be more expensive than if you bought the policy when you were 5, like if your parents bought it for you or something. Term life doesn't really work like that. There's another one that's actually better if your parents buy you life insurance when you're super young. We'll talk about that probably Monday or Tuesday. So with term life, it's for a specific period of time, so you probably don't buy term life for your kids because they're going to have it longer than just 5 years. So each policy that you get, you have to name a beneficiary. They're the person that receives the face value of the policy. So let's say, for instance, you are the beneficiary on a $100,000 policy. If something happens to the person that has the policy and you're the beneficiary, it doesn't matter how long they've had the policy, you would get the $100,000. It doesn't matter if they've paid the premiums so that it is up to $100,000. The day you buy it, you actually have the $100,000. Okay, so keep that in mind. It doesn't matter how much they've got into it or anything like that. If you're the beneficiary, you get that money unless there was something strange that happened that is excluded. The face value is the amount of insurance coverage you buy. So if you buy a $100,000 premium or policy, that's how much you get. If you buy a $50,000 policy, that's how much you get. Here's an example. Kenny, 30 years old, he wants to buy a $50,000 5-year term life policy. Now, all the policies for here are 5-year. It doesn't mean that there aren't others available. It's just that they wanted to do a single table, and that's why every single one that you're going to do is for 5 years. So the first thing you're going to do is knock off 3 of these zeros because you're dividing by 1,000 to use this table. So it's 50,000 divided by 1,000, which would be 50. And that's the same as just crossing off 3 of the zeros. So this person wants 50 units. You're going to go to the table, look up, is the person male or female, and find that number. So Kenny is a male, 30 years old. It's the first category. They pay $3.21 per unit. So you multiply. Do not leave the zeros on there. You have to take them off first. So 50 times $3.21 is $160.50. That's how much he would pay for a year for this type of insurance, which is not very expensive when you're talking insurance. I think they stick to a year, but let me see. Yeah, I think on most of these they stick to the annual premium, which is for a year. So once you use the number off the table, that's for a year. Now there is a second one. Maria bought $800,000 life insurance policy, so we're going to cross off the 3 zeros. So we'll be using the 800. She is 35 years old this year. What's the premium at age 30? So she bought it at age 30. She's going to see what the premium increase is what this question is asking. So we're going to use 800. We're going to use female at age 30 is $2.77. So 2,216. Now, when you're looking at the two, we used a male in that 18 to 30 category was 321. A female is 277. What do you suppose the difference is? Life expectancy. Women are expected to live longer. Okay, so they'll pay insurance longer than men. So now she is 35 and she's thinking, do I renew or what do I do? So they want to know, what is her premium going to be at age 35? Well, that jumps up to the next category, so we're going to use $2.98. It did not say anything about expanding the amount that she's being covered for. So now it's $2.98 per unit. So 800 times 298, $23.84. How much is the increase? I don't know. We're just going to subtract the two. 168. Okay. So increase is $168. And then they want to know what's the percent of increase. So when you're doing these, you're using this number right here, 168, and you're dividing by the original one, or the one that she first bought. So the original premium was $22.16. We're going to divide by that. Okay, now when you divide it, you're going to get a decimal. 168 divided by 22.16 is 0.075. You need to make it look like a percent, so you need to either multiply by 100 or move the decimal 2 places. So it's an increase of about 7.5%. So from the time she bought it when she was 30 to the time she had to renew it when she was 35, it had gone up 7.5%. Which isn't like extreme. Every single year, insurance goes up. It has never gone down the whole time I've been working. So insurance, and it doesn't matter if it's health insurance, life insurance, whatever, it always increases. It never really goes down. So it's going to increase, and if you're paying it, you just kind of have to say, okay, and write the check out or have it taken out of your check, because there's nothing you can do about it. And the people that are doing it, of course, are the ones that are setting the rates. So sometimes you'll have to do the increase. If they don't ask you for how much is the increase, you have to do that first, though. So it would look like this or that. You would just do the 2384 minus 2216, hit your equals, and then divide by the original one. It looks funny, but that's really all you're doing. How much has it increased divided by the original, and that's what your percent will be.